Blake Rose. Blake is the well-known literary critic for the magazine Book Salon.
Hello, everyone.
Blake will talk to you about a book he just read.
Thank you, Jackson. It's a pleasure to be on the show. You know, I always appreciate the opportunity to talk about great books, and this is definitely one I recommend. This novel is called Sphere by Michael Crichton, known for titles like Jurassic Park and The Andromeda Strain. This book fuses the science and fantasy to create the ultimate sci-fi experience.
Whoa! That sounds amazing. Tell me more. What is this novel about?
Great question, Jackson. The story focuses on psychologist Norman Johnson, who was recruited by the United States Navy to join a group of scientists assembled by the U.S. government to examine a massive spacecraft discovered at the bottom of the ocean. The coral on the spacecraft seems to indicate that it is almost 300 years old and most likely is of alien origin. Norman and others dive to the bottom of the ocean to explore it when a storm unexpectedly forms and forces them to stay submerged for the next few days with no contact with the surface. While roaming through the spacecraft, they find out that it is actually made in America and it belongs to the United States. After discussion, the team concludes that it must be from the future and it flew through a black hole to go back in time. Following that, they discover a unique sphere-like structure within the spacecraft. The sphere has strange markings and the group agrees that it must be alien. After many attempts to open the sphere, Harry finally opens it. Harry climbs inside and it shuts behind him. Once he emerges, Harry complains of a terrible headache and he is unable to remember what happened in the sphere or how he opened it. As they continue to theorize, they receive messages from the computer from an intelligent-seeming, friendly life form which calls itself Jerry, apparently from within the sphere. Over the next few days, Norman and his crewmates undergo the most thrilling experience of their lives that will keep you on the edge of your seat.
Where does this story take place?
Well, the story mostly takes place on the dark bottom of the Pacific Ocean, either in the living habitat that was built for them or the spacecraft they discovered. The bottom of the ocean consists of freezing temperatures, and only a few seconds without a heated diving suit could cause hypothermia and be fatal.
Who are some of the characters?
There are 5 main characters. The main one is Norman Johnson, a psychologist, husband, and father. Norman is the protagonist of the story and seems to be the most clear-headed of the group living in the underwater habitat. Norman often finds himself as a facilitator of the group and has to calm people down and mediate arguments. Harry Adams is a mathematician and the youngest of the group. Harry is very arrogant and he believes that he is the most intelligent of the group, which leads to occasional arguments and disputes. Beth Halpern is the only female scientist and is quite unstable. She has broad mood swings. At times she seems to be gentle, and at other times she can be deceptive, argumentative, and self-serving. She seems to have a strong drive to achieve power and dominance. Ted Fielding is one of the most opportunistic of the scientists. His pompous ways make it hard for him to make friends despite his good intentions. He is constantly invalidating Norman's job as not real, and that psychology is not a real science or medical field. Finally, Harold Barnes is the captain of the operation and is the leader of the group. His military ways often confuses the scientists, and he occasionally hides information from the others to achieve his own end.
Wow, that's a lot of characters. What type of readers is this book targeting? Kids, adults, or teens?
I think Michael Crichton is definitely targeting the teenager and adult readers of both genders. There's plenty of profanity and some more mature arguments. And now here's a passage from the story on page 104. They walked deeper into the room, moving among the giant hands and claws. And they saw, nestled in the padded claw of one hand, a large, perfectly polished sphere about 30 feet in diameter. The sphere had no markings or features of any kind. They moved around the sphere, seeing themselves reflected in the polished metal. Norman noticed an odd shifting iridescence, faint rainbow hues of blue and red, gleaming in the metal. It looks like an oversized ball bearing, Harry said. Keep walking, smart guy. On the far side, they discovered a series of deep, convoluted grooves cut in an intricate pattern into the surface of the sphere. The pattern was arresting, though Norman could not immediately say why. The pattern wasn't geometric, and it wasn't amorphous or organic either. It was hard to say what it was. Norman had never seen anything like it, and was a pattern never found on Earth, never created by any man, never conceived by a human imagination. Ted and Barnes were right. He felt sure of it. This sphere was something alien.
Wow. That gave me shivers of anticipation. So, what are your final comments before we cut to a commercial?
Alright, I'll make it quick. I rate the novel 4 stars out of 5. This is one of Michael Crichton's best work, and I urge you to read it.
Thank you so much. It was great having you on the show, Blake. Have a good day, America. This has been Books to Go.